Tesla lost almost 9% today after an unimpressive robotaxi event last night. It lost over 20 points today. And even with Tesla dropping almost 9%, the SP 500 closed with another all-time closing high and made a new all-time high intraday. If you think this could be the top, I'm going to show you why we could see another new all-time high for the SP 500. And looking at this chart of the indexes, not only the S&P 500 finished the week with an all-time closing high and make a new all-time high, the Dow Jones Industrial along with the New York Stock Exchange Composite also made a new all-time high and also closed with an all-time closing high. And looking at the performance of the indexes for the week, notice that the Dow Jones Transportation actually is a top performer with a gain of 2.68%, gained 424.14 for the week, and followed by the Dow Jones Industrial, it gained 1.21%, a little bit over 510 points, and the Nasdaq 100 gained 1.18% or 236 points, and the Nasdaq Composite 1.13%, finished with a gain of 205 points for the week, and the S&P 500 gained 1.1%, close to 64 points for the week. The Russell 2000 gained almost 1%, gained 21.61 points. New York Stock Exchange Composite gained 0.88% or 172.54 points. All the indexes finished the week with a gain. And before I tell you the reason why I expect to see another new all-time high from the S&P 500, let's go and take a look at the internals and also the sentiment. And on this sentiment chart, we see the VIX is above the 20 level, so definitely the market participant is getting a little itchy. They are not really complacent. They are showing a little bit of a fear, but not fearful. So right now, we can see that the put-call ratio is also below 0.75. That means the market participant are still slightly bullish, and they are still putting on risk. And looking at the internal, the up-down volume ratio on Friday was 3.3 to 1 in favor of the up volume, while the S&P 500 is making a new all-time high. And also looking at the daily advanced decline, there were over 1,700 more advancing issue than declining issue. That means there's over 80% of the stock traded in the New York Stock Exchange were advancing in price on Friday. And for the new 52-week high versus 52-week low, we are still seeing more 52-week high than 52-week low. Notice on Friday, 188 stock make new 52-week high, while only 13 stock make new 52-week low. And for the New York Stock Exchange cumulative AD line, we are seeing a little bit of a divergence here, a negative divergence, because we did not see this high taken out, this high here taken out on Friday, while the S&P 500 closed with a new all-time closing high. So that could mean that we might see a little bit of a pullback. So that is how we're going to expect the S&P 500 and the AD line resolve this negative divergence. And for the Nasdaq market, we also see that there was over 3 to 1 in favor of the up volume for the Nasdaq, and the daily advanced decline, there was over 2,000 more advancing stock than declining stock. So that is also showing bond market advance on Friday for the Nasdaq. And the new high versus new low for the Nasdaq is also showing positive strength. We see there are still more 52-week high than 52-week low. On Friday, 271 stock make new 52-week high versus only 93 stock make new 52-week low. And for us, the advanced decline line, we are still seeing a negative divergence, so it's not anything new. We just have to constantly monitor it to see how much of a deterioration it will get. Because notice on the previous day, we actually saw a little bit more negative. So again, the bond market participation in the Nasdaq on a daily basis show a positive sign, but on a longer term or accumulated basis, the advanced decline is still showing a negative divergence. So overall, on the internal, we are not seeing much of a deterioration at all, but the market participant are getting a little bit more cautious, but they are not holding back on risk, because on the put-call ratio, we're still seeing it below 0.75. On Friday, it actually finished at 0.67. Now, let me show you why I think we could still see a new all-time high from the S&P 500. Let's looking at the ES, the E-mini S&P 500. Notice that on Wednesday, it finally broke out of this balance area and then form a 2-day balance area. And then on Friday, it broke out of this multi-day, this 2-day balance area into new high. And if we take a look at Friday's market profile, you see that it left some single print here. But the key thing to watch is this right here, the poor high that it left. So we will see this poor high get resolved in the coming days. And when it does, that's when we will see the S&P 500 to make another new all-time high. And looking at the daily chart of the ES, we see that last week it did not come up to hit the upper range, all went down to the lower range. Now what we see here is it developed this balance area and move away. So for the coming week, we're going to be looking at these possibilities. First is the expected range. The upper range for the coming week is 59.30 and 59.25.25, and the lower range is between 57.81.25 and 57.40. So for the coming week, we're basically going to be watching for the possibility of move up to make a new all-time high and then come up to this upper range here to this 5900 area. So it might be able to break through this 5900 area and possibly get into the 6000. Okay, so that would be one possibility. Now, the other possibility is we'll come back down into this balance area. Then we'd be looking for the possibility of coming down to this lower range and in this balance area here to possibly test this supporting trend line or even the top of this balance area here. Now, if break this trend line, then we'd be looking at the possibility for the ES to come down to somewhere around 56, 59 and a quarter. Now, if you want to see a little bit more up-to-date information from me, be sure to go and check out my Substack newsletter because I publish a daily trade plan for the ES and also for the SPY, and I will update the scenario of what level that we're going to be watching and what are the possibility scenario for the ES and also for the SPY to be targeting. And here looking at the SPY, you can see that the SPY did not come up to this upper range also for the weekly expected move, and neither did it come down to the lower range, for the week here. But it did finish a new all-time high. So for the coming week, this is what we're going to be watching. And for the coming week, the market is pricing in the upper range to somewhere between 587.30 and 586.88, and for the lower range is between 572.40 and 568. So for the possible price scenario, we're going to watch for it to come up to this upper range here and put in a new all-time high, or come down to this balance area here and take out this lower range and possibly come down and test this edge here. If it loses this balance area, if it breaks through this balance area, then we'll be looking at somewhere around this 563.57. And for the NQ, the E-mini NASDAQ 100 future, would be watching to see would it be able to come up and take out this 20,517 here, and then possibly come up, fill the gap and pushes into the new all-time high near the 21,147.50. Now, if it is unable to come up and fill this gap here, then we'd be looking for it to come back down to this level here, somewhere around the 20,000 area, which is 19,964, and possibly come down to this trend line. And if it breaks this trend line, then we'd be looking at the move down toward this 19,558. And for the QQQ, the ETF for the NASDAQ 100, we see that it was unable to come up to the upper range or fall down to the lower range, just like the SPY. And so right now, we're basically looking for the possibility to see would it be able to move up this, up to this balance area in the coming week. And for the coming week, the market is pricing in the upper range between 502.30 and 501.50. And the lower range is between 485.20 and 481. So the potential price scenario that we're going to be watching is to see would it be able to come up, take out this balance area and move up to the upper range then possibly put this all-time high in play and see if we'll be able to put in a new all-time high above 503.52. Now on the downside is that we'll be watching to see if we come down into this balance area here to see would it be able to hold this level at 478.99, basically 479, and go to this lower range here and see would it be able to hold this level. And if it doesn't, then we'd be looking at the possibility of breaking this trend line and move down to this level here, somewhere around 470.76, this lower balance area here at the lower edge of this balance area. So once again, based on the nuances that we see on the ES, the E-mini S&P 500, the market is using that as a proxy to tell us to look for a possible new all-time high on the S&P 500 in the day to come. And also the internals along with the sentiment, it did not show us that the market is ready to collapse. So any pullback would be an opportunity for us to look for a possibility of buying the dip until the market tells us otherwise. So if you find this video to be useful and informative, be sure to smash the thumbs up to give it a like to help me promote this video on YouTube. And if you are new to this channel, click on the subscribe to help support this channel, and be sure to go check out my newsletter at Substack, and the link is in the description below. It is smtraderca.substack.com. Thank you for watching and good luck on your trading.